Hey everybody, Nate Mercer here, and today I'm going to be bringing you guys a Division 2 video about my personalized AR PvP build. This build specifically is for Occupied Dark Zone, but it's also very useful in normalized content such as Conflict and regular Dark Zone, especially Conflict, as at the end of the video you will be getting some clips just showing me fighting 1v4 specifically and absolutely melting teams. Currently I am really loving this build. I think this build can compete with the reigning SMG meta and the creeping LMG meta. Especially with those two builds being more popularized, I think this AR build definitely could prove a challenge. A lot of people, I think, put ARs out of the game and out of builds because of the mod nerf, which we will get into in a little bit. But to start the build, of course, you do have the survivalist specialization for the 15% AR damage, the 15% shotgun damage, and for me personally, I use an incendiary grenade. You can use whatever grenade suits your needs, whatever you prefer. I use it as well just because with my Wicked talent, I do get 10% weapon damage for a SAS afflicted enemy. But for the build, you are going to want 5 offensive attributes. Now, unfortunately for me, I have not got good rolls on my Providence Defense Mask or my holster. I am looking for non-offensive attributes just to get it down to 8, and then I can remove the 3 offensive mod slots that I have. Once I'm able to do that, I'll be able to get to 5. And you do want at least 7 defensive attributes. This will be for another talent as well. So to start off, you can see my stats: 235,000 armor with 72,000 health, and normalized, it gets cut by quite a bit, 70,000 armor and about 15,000 health. So let's get right into the build, starting off with a custom P416. In my opinion, this is the best AR in the game. The rate of fire is very close to the CTAR. It's about 100 less, but the damage variant is about 5,000 more from what I've seen. I've seen rolls from about 17.5k on the low end up to 21k on the high end. It does have a slight lower accuracy than other ARs, but we do make up for that with one mod. But the stability is what makes this weapon so strong. I have no recoil on this weapon, and headshots are never a problem. For talents, I use Allegro for that 10% rate of fire. Transmission, I do wish I would get a better custom P416. The transmission talent really does nothing. And I do have close and personal. The one you want, though, for the build is Optimist, and this is one of the reasons why you want 5 or less offensive attributes. Optimist weapon damage is increased by 3% for every 10% ammo missing from the magazine. As you can see with the high RPM, Optimist is going to be good because you are going to be running out of ammo very quickly. You're going to be burning through that 40 mag very fast and racking up weapon damage over time. Especially since you are eventually going to be taking... normally you're going to be exchanging fire, Berserk is also going to proc, and your damage is going to keep on increasing over time. Now, since we do have the Optimist perk, we do use the exotic Sweet Dreams, but I'll get into the mods first on the P416. I do use Streamlight Iron Sights as well as Hand Stop for that reload speed. Of course, the mag got nerfed from plus 30 rounds and minus 5 or 10% rate of fire that you normally can make up with Allegro to 10 rounds, which is the biggest nerf, I think, to ARs. The 60 mag was very nice. It helped a lot more and would put out more damage with Optimist, in my opinion. But even with this 10 rounds, we can still make it work. For the muzzle, I use a large suppressor for the accuracy buff, especially since it's a little bit lower than most ARs. For the secondary weapon, however, we use Sweet Dreams, the exotic weapon. The damage is really nice. I think I might have got a high roll on it, 148k. Of course, I got the plus 15% shotgun damage. But we do not use it for the Sweet Dream talent or Sandman. We use it for evasive. While equipped, dodging reloads 25% of your current weapon's magazine. Now, if you burn 40 ammo from your custom P416 and dodge and get 10 bullets, Optimist is still going to perk. It's still going to activate as if you have a 40 mag with 10 bullets in it. So every time you dodge, shoot 10 bullets, you're going to be getting increased weapon damage. I didn't do the exact math, but you can see where this adds up over time. Definitely. It's a lot of damage, especially if you're dodging with low armor. Berserk's also going to be proccing. A lot of damage is going to be going out. For my sidearm, I do use Disrose only for this talent for protected reload. While equipped, this weapon gains 10% bonus armor while reloading. I like that just because it's a little perk, especially with one of the defensive talents that we're going to be using, which requires the 7 defensive attributes. Now, this right here is the meat of the build. The biggest brand piece or set we use is Providence Defense. We use it for the skill power for the chem launcher, a nice 8% health boost, but the main one is for that base 5% weapon damage. For this one, I have 4% crit chance. For the build, you do not want to be running any crit chance or damage. I do have a lot of those rolls. I don't like them. I don't want them. I want base weapon damage if possible, or just more tanky attributes. And I'll show you in a little bit why. I do have 5,000 health, and the talent I have is self-adjusting 20% armor regeneration. Another one you can definitely use is empowered for 10% skill power for that chem launcher. For the second piece and the next Providence defense piece, we have the backpack, 4.5% weapon damage, a nice cooldown reduction for the launcher, and 8,000 health. And then we have safeguard. This is going to be the second ability that requires 5 or less offensive attributes. Killing a target grants a 150% bonus to repairing and healing effects for 20 seconds, and I believe in normalized, it is 75% for 10 seconds. Now, even with the nerf that happened to this weapon, or to this talent, safeguard is incredible. I love it, especially when I'm going to be getting less offensive talent or attributes and putting safeguard actually in clips. I believe that this build is going to get even better. Right now, mine isn't even perfected, and I'm shredding, so I cannot wait to see what safeguard does. Now, I have hardened for 10% armor. If you don't normally run the occupied dark zone and you just like to run conflict, I would probably pick vital over hardened. But specifically, since I don't want to get absolutely melted, or my armor absolutely melted in occupied dark zone, I do run hardened, but you can run either or. Now, for the next piece, we're going to be running the Fenris Group AB chest piece for the 10% rifle damage, or assault rifle damage. This is an absolute must. This is the chest piece you need to be using. My rolls were pretty bad, unfortunately, crit damage and chance. I would like maybe another defensive attribute such as health and maybe just pure weapon damage, but I'll take what I can get. Of course, for the talents, Berserk is a must. You need this, 10% weapon damage for every 10% of max armor depleted. While you're exchanging fire, especially since you're running out of ammo in your mag, Optimist is going to be proccing as well as Berserk, so you are going to be dealing a lot of damage over time. Hardened as well for 10% armor. Of course, you could always switch this out with Vital as well, and just a regular offensive system mod. For the gloves, now these two of my pieces in my build are going to be kind of personal preference, so the knee pads and the gloves. Now for the gloves, I run Murakami Industries. I run it for the 8% health. I do it just so I have a little bit more tankiness, especially since health doesn't get taxed as well as armor does in normalized content. So 8% health, I do have 4,000. 500 health. And then for the attribute, I would recommend, if you have to pick a piece to put an offensive on, it would be the gloves, because normally you do get pretty high rolls. My Araldi holding has 11% assault rifle damage. And for my talent, I have Wicked. This is a little perk that I get for using my incendiary grenade. 10% weapon damage to status affected enemies. Eventually, I do want to try and take this out. I believe there is a talent that if you have 20% or less crit chance, you do get 15% weapon damage. I'm going to be trying to get that, but for now, Wicked works. Now, this is one of my weakest pieces, especially since the base armor on it. This was actually when I was going up to World Tier 5, gear score 500, so this one's pretty weak. The Providence Defense holster, this is the final, this is the third piece, the final one of the Providence Defense brand set. And I get 5% crit chance, nothing really there, I don't really want that. But it does have a very nice defensive attribute. If you are going to be rolling into a defensive attribute with this piece, I would try to get health, especially since from what I've been rolling, you get a very nice amount. And by the base health you normally have, you do miss out on a lot. Especially like one of these pieces is not good. I would totally recommend trying to get a defensive attribute, especially since you need 7 for the talent that we are going to be having on our knee pads. Now, for the final piece, of course, this is the personal preference. I use Gilligard. I use it for the 5% total armor as well as bonus armor. If I was running a lot more conflict and optimized dark zone or occupied dark zone, I would be running probably health instead of bonus armor. But all these stats don't really matter because we want the big boy, the patience talent. After being in cover for 3 seconds, armor repairs by 5% every 1 second. Now, since this build is not going to be a run and gun like the SMG Vector build was, and you are not going to be playing as aggressive as the LMG because the initial damage isn't going to be as strong. You are building up damage over time. Playing in cover and playing in patience and regenning small amounts of health with a chem launcher, with safeguard, with patience, and even when you're reloading with that 10% shield perk or talent on the sidearm, you can see that we are slowly building up health and armor over time. Patience to me is the third best talent in this build, followed by Berserk and Optimist. Now that is for the just gear pieces. Now for the skills, it's kind of personal preference. I've even sometimes run Jammer, especially since Defender drones are really popular. Now, if you were to run a drone, I would not run Defender drone. This build works more when you're fighting head on and you're taking damage from Berserk. That being said, if you were going to do that, I would run the Fixer drone. I have been running Fixer drone a lot more than Defender drone, and it has been working a lot more for me, especially since you are wanting to have low armor just for the fact of Berserk and with Optimus as you're running down your mag. For the second ability, of course, you are going to want to run the Reinforcer Chem Launcher. This is a staple. This is a must. This is something you need to have because this is your healing. This is what you are going to be using. I normally don't use armor packs. I normally just use a Reinforcer Chem Launcher. It is that strong. And I believe that is it for the build. I'm going to be showing you guys some clips at the end of the video. It's going to be highlighting some of my favorite moments that I've been using with this build, especially one where I completely wipe a team of 4 in skirmish. I loved it. I don't really have that many Dark Zone clips, but besides that, I really do hope that ARs come up. I really do hope that these start to compete with the current SMG and building, especially with the LMG meta coming up. I do think the ARs do have a chance to shine, and I do think this build can definitely do that. But thank you guys for watching. I really do appreciate it, and I will see you guys in the next Division 2 video.
Agent down.
One over there.
Medical assistance needed.